Most people spend their entire lives waiting for motivation. They sit there scrolling through videos, listening to speeches, reading quotes, hoping that some magical feeling will suddenly appear and push them to change their life. They think motivation is the key. They think if they just feel inspired enough, energized enough, excited enough, then everything will suddenly become easy. But the truth is brutal. Motivation is temporary. It's a feeling, and feelings come and go. One day you feel unstoppable. The next day you feel tired, lazy, distracted, and suddenly the dreams that felt so powerful yesterday start to feel heavy today. This is where most people fail, because they built their entire life on motivation instead of discipline. Discipline doesn't care about your feelings. Discipline doesn't wake up in the morning asking, "Do I feel inspired today?" Discipline doesn't check your mood. Discipline shows up whether you are tired or energetic, whether you are excited or bored, whether the world supports you or ignores you. And that is why discipline is more powerful than motivation. Motivation can start the engine, but discipline keeps the machine moving. When everything inside you wants to stop, look around at the people who truly win in life. The champions, the entrepreneurs, the leaders, the people who rise above the crowd. Do you really think they feel motivated every single day? Do you think they wake up every morning jumping out of bed with excitement? No. Many days they feel exactly like everyone else. They feel tired, they feel pressure, they feel doubt. But the difference is simple. They move anyway, they work anyway, they push forward anyway. Because discipline is not about how you feel. Discipline is about what you do despite how you feel. The dangerous illusion of motivation is that it tricks people into believing success should feel good all the time. Social media shows the highlights, the money, the luxury, the applause, the victory, but it hides the thousands of silent hours of work that happened before anyone noticed. It hides the mornings when the alarm rings and every part of your body wants to stay in bed. It hides the late nights when your mind is exhausted, but the work still isn't finished. Those moments are not glamorous. Those moments are not exciting. Those moments are disciplined, and this is the moment where people separate into two groups. One group listens to their feelings. If they feel motivated, they work. If they don't feel motivated, they rest. Their progress moves like a roller coaster, up one day, down the next. The second group follows discipline. They work whether they feel good or not. They show up whether they feel confident or not. They move forward even when progress feels slow and invisible. And over time, something incredible happens. The disciplined person begins to build momentum that the motivated person can never match. Think about it like this. If you rely on motivation, you will only work when the emotion is strong. Maybe a few days each week, maybe a few weeks each month. But discipline creates consistency, and consistency creates power. Every single day you show up, every single day you push forward, every single day you refuse to quit, you are stacking small victories on top of each other. At first they seem invisible. Nobody notices them. Nobody applauds them. But those small victories slowly build a foundation so strong that eventually success becomes inevitable. The truth that most people avoid is that discipline is uncomfortable. It demands sacrifice. It demands patience. It demands that you keep going when the excitement disappears. But that discomfort is exactly what makes discipline powerful. Because most people are addicted to comfort. They run away from difficulty. They avoid struggle. They search for the easiest path possible. When you choose discipline, you immediately separate yourself from the majority. You step into a smaller group of people who are willing to suffer today so they can dominate tomorrow. Imagine waking up every day knowing that your success does not depend on your mood. Imagine knowing that no matter how tired you feel, no matter how distracted the world becomes, you have trained yourself to execute. That is the real power of discipline. It removes negotiation from your mind. There is no debate. There is no argument with yourself. The work simply gets done, and once you reach that level, something incredible happens. The same people who are waiting for motivation will start looking at you and wondering how you move so fast. They will ask how you stay so focused, how you stay so consistent, how you keep achieving results while they are still trying to feel ready. They won't realize the secret was never motivation. The secret was building a mindset where action happens automatically, where excuses lose their power, where discipline becomes stronger than emotion, stronger than comfort, stronger than fear, and stronger than every temporary feeling that once tried to slow you down. There is a moment in every person's life where things become difficult. A moment where the excitement disappears, where the energy fades, and where every part of your mind starts whispering the same dangerous words, maybe this isn't worth it anymore. That moment is where most people quit. Not because they are incapable, not because they lack talent, but because pain entered the process. And the truth that nobody likes to admit is that pain is the exact place where winners are created. People love the idea of success. They love imagining the money, the respect, the lifestyle, the recognition. But what they don't love is the price that must be paid before those rewards appear. Because success has a brutal entrance fee, and that fee is discomfort. Long hours when everyone else is relaxing, sacrifices that nobody applauds, work that feels invisible because the results haven't shown up yet. These are the painful moments that test whether someone truly deserves to win. Think about the times in your life when things felt easy, when everything was comfortable, when progress required almost no effort, when life felt smooth and predictable. In those moments, you were not becoming stronger. Comfort does not build champions. Comfort does not sharpen the mind or strengthen the will. Comfort simply keeps people exactly where they are. Growth only begins when comfort disappears. The painful moments are where your true identity is revealed. When you are exhausted and still continue working. When you fail but decide to try again. When people doubt you, but you refuse to stop believing in yourself. These moments do not feel heroic while you are living them. They feel frustrating. They feel heavy. They feel lonely. But those exact moments are quietly shaping you into someone stronger than the person you used to be. Most people misunderstand the role of pain in success. They believe pain is a sign that something is wrong. They believe if the journey becomes difficult, it means they should slow down or change direction. But pain is not a warning sign. Pain is proof that you are moving beyond your limits. It is the signal that you are entering a level where weaker minds decide to turn around. Imagine two people starting the same journey. Both of them feel excited at the beginning. Both of them feel motivated and confident about the future. But eventually the path becomes harder. Progress slows down. Obstacles appear. Doubt starts creeping into their minds. One person decides the struggle is too much and walks away. The other person feels the same struggle but refuses to stop. Years later, the difference between them looks enormous, but the separation actually happened in that one painful moment when one person chose comfort and the other chose endurance. Painful moments force you to grow mentally. They train you to control your emotions instead of being controlled by them. They teach you patience when results take longer than expected. They teach you resilience when the world refuses to cooperate with your plans. And slowly, without even realizing it, you become someone who is harder to break, harder to distract, and harder to defeat. This is why the strongest people in the world are not the ones who had the easiest path. They are the ones who faced the most resistance and kept moving anyway. Every challenge they faced became another layer of strength. Every setback became another lesson. Every painful moment became another piece of armor, protecting them from future weakness. When you start seeing pain as part of the process instead of an obstacle, something powerful changes in your mindset. The struggle no longer scares you. The difficulty no longer surprises you. Instead, you start recognizing it as a signal that you are exactly where growth happens. You start understanding that every uncomfortable moment is an opportunity to prove something to yourself. The majority of people spend their lives running away from discomfort. They avoid risk, they avoid challenge, they avoid situations that demand effort and patience. But the small percentage of people who achieve extraordinary things do the opposite. They walk directly into difficulty because they understand that every painful moment they survive is making them more prepared for the success waiting on the other side. Eventually, something remarkable begins to happen. The same pain that once felt unbearable becomes familiar. The same pressure that once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. The same challenges that once made you question yourself start feeling like routine obstacles that you know how to overcome. And without realizing it, you have transformed into someone who can handle struggles that would make most people quit. someone who has been forged through pressure, strengthened by resistance, and shaped by the painful moments that quietly build the mindset of a true winner. There is a harsh reality about the world that many people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. It is a truth that sounds unfair at first, but once you understand it, your entire mindset changes. The world does not reward effort alone. It does not reward intentions. It does not reward the number of times you tried or the number of reasons why something didn't work. The world rewards results. That is the language of success. That is the currency of respect. Every day, millions of people wake up with dreams. They talk about the things they want to achieve, the life they want to live, the success they believe they deserve. They tell stories about the obstacles they are facing, the difficulties they are dealing with, the reasons their progress has slowed down. And while their explanations may be real, the truth is simple. The world does not pause to analyze everyone's struggles. The world simply looks at outcomes. Imagine two people standing side by side. One of them has a long story about why they could not reach their goals. They explain the problems they faced, the lack of support they experienced, the bad timing that ruined their plans. The other person says very little but shows undeniable results. One person brings explanations, the other brings proof. And every single time, the world pays attention to the person who delivers proof. This is not about being cruel or insensitive. Everyone faces struggles. Everyone deals with problems that the outside world may never fully understand. But success is built on responsibility. It is built on the ability to face those challenges and still find a way to produce results. The moment you understand this truth, you stop wasting energy explaining your circumstances and start focusing your energy on changing them. Excuses are incredibly powerful because they feel comfortable. They protect the ego. They create a temporary shield that allows someone to avoid confronting their weaknesses. When something goes wrong, the mind automatically searches for a reason that removes responsibility. Maybe the opportunity wasn't fair. Maybe the timing wasn't right. Maybe other people had advantages that you didn't have. And sometimes those things are absolutely true. But the dangerous part is that excuses stop progress the moment they are accepted as permanent. Results demand a different mindset. Results demand ownership. They require you to ask difficult questions about your habits, your discipline, your consistency, and your willingness to adapt when things go wrong. Producing results often means doing things that most people are not willing to do. It means continuing the work when nobody is watching. It means improving your skills when progress feels slow. It means facing failure without turning it into a permanent identity. One of the biggest illusions people believe is that others are constantly judging their effort. They believe the world is carefully observing how hard they tried. But in reality, most people are too focused on their own lives to analyze someone else's effort. What stands out is the final outcome, the finished product, the visible success that proves the work happened behind the scenes. Think about the people who inspire respect in society. The entrepreneurs who built businesses from nothing, the athletes who pushed their bodies beyond normal limits, the creators who turned ideas into powerful movements. Their stories are admired not because they complained about their struggles, but because they produced results despite those struggles. Their achievements became evidence of discipline, persistence, and relentless focus. When you shift your mindset toward results, your behavior begins to change. You stop arguing with reality and start working with it. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and begin creating progress in imperfect situations. You stop measuring success by how hard something feels and start measuring it by what actually gets accomplished. This mindset also creates confidence that cannot be shaken easily. Because real confidence does not come from motivational words or temporary emotions. Real confidence comes from evidence. It comes from knowing that you have repeatedly taken action, repeatedly solved problems, and repeatedly turned effort into visible progress. Each result becomes proof that you are capable of more. At some point, people around you will begin to notice the difference. While others continue explaining why they are stuck, you will be moving forward. While others continue describing their plans, you will be showing the outcomes of your actions. The noise of excuses will slowly fade into the background, and the clarity of results will start speaking louder than anything words could ever explain, creating a reputation built not on promises, but on proof, not on intentions, but on execution. not on stories about what might happen, but on undeniable evidence of what has already been accomplished. At some point in your journey, you will realize something strange about success. The moment you start improving your life, the moment you start chasing bigger goals, the moment you begin stepping outside the limits that most people accept, criticism will appear. Doubt will appear. People who once ignored you will suddenly have opinions about everything you are doing. And for many people, this is the moment where they begin to slow down. They become distracted by negativity. They become emotionally affected by what others say about them. But the individuals who truly win in life understand something powerful. The hate, the criticism, the doubt from others is not a reason to stop. It is fuel. Every person who has ever attempted something meaningful has faced resistance from the outside world. Sometimes the criticism comes from strangers who know nothing about your journey. Sometimes it comes from people who are closer to you than you expected. Friends, coworkers, even family members may question your ambitions. They might laugh at your ideas. They might say your goals are unrealistic. And the reason behind this behavior is rarely about you. Most of the time it is about them. When people see someone stepping outside the boundaries they are afraid to cross, it makes them uncomfortable. Your ambition becomes a mirror reflecting their own hesitation. Your discipline reminds them of the effort they are avoiding. Your courage highlights the risks they are too afraid to take. And instead of confronting their own fears, some people choose the easier path. They try to pull you back down to the level where they feel safe. This is why criticism often increases when progress begins. At first, when nobody believes you are serious, they ignore your efforts. But when your work starts producing visible results, when your consistency becomes undeniable, when your dedication proves that you are not just talking anymore, that is when the voices grow louder. Doubters begin questioning your methods. Skeptics begin predicting your failure. Haters begin hoping that you will fall back into the same limitations they accepted for themselves. Most people see this negativity as a personal attack. They become defensive. They waste energy trying to explain themselves. They try to convince everyone around them that their vision is correct. But winners understand that seeking approval from critics is a waste of valuable time. Instead of arguing with hate, they convert it into motivation. Every negative comment becomes a reminder of why they started. Every doubt becomes another reason to push harder. Every person who laughs becomes another person they plan to prove wrong through action. This mindset transforms criticism into energy. Instead of weakening your focus, it strengthens it. Instead of distracting you from your path, it sharpens your determination to keep moving forward. Think about the psychology behind this transformation. When someone criticizes you, your mind naturally reacts with emotion, anger, frustration, sometimes even self-doubt. But if you train yourself to redirect that emotion into productivity, it becomes a powerful tool. The same anger that could have destroyed your focus becomes the force that drives your discipline. The same frustration that could have slowed you down becomes the pressure that pushes you to work harder than ever before. Some of the most successful people in the world have used criticism as the foundation of their drive. They remembered the people who doubted them. They remembered the laughter, the disbelief, the dismissive comments that tried to minimize their potential. And instead of allowing those moments to weaken their confidence, they stored them in their memory as reminders of what they were determined to overcome. Over time, something fascinating begins to happen. The voices that once tried to discourage you slowly lose their influence. The more progress you make, the more irrelevant those opinions become, because real progress has a way of silencing doubt without needing to argue. Results speak louder than criticism ever could, and the same people who once questioned you may eventually change their tone. Some will pretend they supported you all along. Some will quietly observe your progress without acknowledging their earlier negativity. Others may remain silent because they no longer have a reason to doubt what your actions have already proven. But by the time that moment arrives, your focus is no longer on their approval. Your attention remains on the journey, on the growth, on the relentless pursuit of becoming stronger, smarter, and more disciplined than you were before. The hate that once seemed like an obstacle has become a source of momentum, a reminder that standing out will always attract resistance, and that every voice telling you that you cannot succeed is simply another opportunity to turn doubt into drive, criticism into energy, and opposition into the fire that keeps pushing you forward toward the success they never believed you could achieve. There comes a moment in life when you realize that arguing with people is a complete waste of energy. Trying to convince people who doubt you, trying to explain your vision to people who laugh at your goals, trying to defend your ambitions to people who never believed in you in the first place. Most people spend years trapped in this cycle, constantly explaining themselves, constantly trying to prove with words that they are capable of something greater. But the most powerful individuals understand a truth that changes everything. Words do not silence doubters. Success does. At some point, you will encounter people who underestimate you. They will judge you based on your current situation. They will look at where you are right now and decide where they believe you will always remain. They will laugh at your dreams because those dreams are bigger than the life they have accepted for themselves. And in those moments, it is very easy to become emotional. It is very easy to argue, to defend yourself, to try to prove through conversation that they are wrong. But every second spent arguing is a second stolen from progress. The most powerful response to doubt is silence followed by achievement. Instead of wasting energy explaining your future, you invest that energy into building it. Instead of debating your potential, you quietly develop it. And while others are busy forming opinions about what you cannot do, you are busy proving to yourself what you are capable of becoming. Success has a unique power that no argument can match. When someone sees visible results, when they see undeniable progress, when they witness the transformation from where you started to where you have arrived, something changes in their mind. Suddenly, the laughter disappears. Suddenly, the criticism fades. Suddenly, the same people who once questioned you begin to look at you differently. Because success speaks a language that everyone understands, the concept of revenge is often misunderstood. Many people imagine revenge as anger, confrontation, or conflict. They imagine fighting back against those who doubted them. But real revenge is much quieter and much more powerful. Real revenge is growth. Real revenge is becoming so focused on improving yourself that the opinions of others lose their power over your mindset. Imagine someone who once mocked your ambitions, seeing you years later living a life they never expected you to build. Imagine the silence that replaces their earlier laughter. Imagine the realization in their mind that they underestimated someone who refused to quit. You never needed to argue with them. You never needed to convince them. Your success delivered the message more clearly than any words ever could. This mindset also protects you from a dangerous trap that stops many people from progressing. When someone constantly focuses on proving others wrong, they can become distracted by negativity. Their motivation becomes tied to anger instead of growth. But when success becomes the focus, everything changes. The goal is no longer to defeat someone else. The goal becomes improving yourself to a level that makes past limitations irrelevant. Every hour of discipline becomes another step toward that transformation. Every challenge you overcome becomes another piece of evidence that you are stronger than the doubts that once surrounded you. Every sacrifice you make becomes another investment in the future version of yourself that the world has not yet seen. Over time, your mindset shifts completely. Instead of reacting emotionally to criticism, you start viewing it as background noise. Instead of feeling the need to respond to every negative comment, you let your actions do the talking. Progress becomes your answer. Growth becomes your reply. Achievement becomes your message to anyone who once believed you were incapable of rising above your circumstances. There is also a deeper power hidden inside this mindset. When you focus on success instead of revenge, you are no longer controlled by the people who doubted you. Your energy is not tied to their opinions anymore. Your focus becomes internal. It becomes about the standards you set for yourself, the discipline you commit to every day, and the vision you refuse to abandon no matter how long the journey takes. The people who once doubted you may never apologize. Some may never admit they were wrong, but that no longer matters. Because the life you build, the achievements you create, and the person you become will stand as permanent proof that their judgment was limited by their own perspective. And while they remain exactly where they once were, you continue moving forward, driven not by the need to argue, but by the unstoppable momentum that comes from turning discipline into results and results into the kind of success that quietly proves every doubt wrong without ever needing to say a single word at the end of the day. Life is not a competition between you and the people who doubt you. It is a battle between the person you are today and the person you are capable of becoming. Every single day, you are faced with a choice. You can follow comfort, listen to excuses, wait for motivation, and remain exactly where you are. Or you can choose discipline. You can choose growth. You can choose the path that most people are too afraid to walk. The truth you must remember is that nobody is coming to rescue you. Nobody is responsible for building your future except you. Your habits, your discipline, your mindset, and your actions will determine where you end up. The world does not reward potential. It rewards people who execute, people who show up every day even when it is difficult, people who continue moving forward long after others have stopped trying. There will be moments when the journey feels heavy. There will be days when the progress feels slow and invisible. There will be voices around you telling you to relax, to slow down, to stop chasing something that seems too big. But those are the exact moments where your character is tested. Those are the moments where winners separate themselves from the crowd. Every early morning when you choose work over comfort, you are building discipline. Every painful challenge you face without quitting, you are becoming stronger. Every excuse you refuse to accept, you are stepping closer to the life most people only dream about. And every time someone doubts you, every time someone laughs at your ambition, you gain another reason to push harder. One day the results will begin to show. Slowly at first, almost invisible. But over time the progress becomes undeniable. The same people who once questioned your journey will begin to notice the difference. They will see the discipline, the confidence, the strength that was built through years of consistency and sacrifice, and in that moment you will realize something powerful. Success was never about proving others wrong. Success was about proving to yourself that you had the courage to keep going when it was difficult, the discipline to keep working when nobody was watching, and the mindset to keep believing in your vision even when the world could not see it yet. So remember this: when life becomes difficult, do not waste time arguing with doubters. Do not waste energy explaining your dreams. Let them talk. Let them laugh. Let them underestimate you. Then go to work. Build the discipline that most people avoid. Embrace the painful moments that create strength. Focus on results instead of excuses. Turn every piece of doubt into fuel that drives you forward, and one day, without needing to say a single word, your success will speak so loudly that the same people who once doubted you will have no choice but to watch in silence as you rise higher than they ever believed possible.